I'm going to answer some frequently asked questions about living in a van, because I get asked questions frequently, and I do have answers for them. My most asked question is, where do you park? And I typically answer, wherever I want. More specifically, I park places that are near public transport so I can get into uni, places that have good sunlight for my solar panel, good access to a toilet that I can use, and places that don't bother people, because I don't want to bother people with where I'm parking. I have about a dozen or so places that I rotate through, so I try not to be a nuisance. Where do I go to the bathroom? Is there a bathroom in here? I don't have a bathroom in here. That would take up a lot of space, and managing the waste would be not fun at all. I do own a camping toilet that I hope to never ever use. It's been 14 months in the van and I've not even gotten close to using it. It's one of those chemical ones that flushes and whatnot. But usually I go to the bathroom at the gym. I have a 24/7 gym membership and there's lots of that gym franchise in my state. So I can go have a shower whenever I want. Except right now we're in a pandemic and so all gyms are closed. Right now I'm pretty much permanently parked outside a friend's place. So, that's my current situation regarding that. How do I get electricity? There is a solar panel bolted to the roof. It's just a household solar panel, much the same as you'd see on the roof of a house. It charges a battery that charges, my phone and powers the lights and powers my fridge. And that works pretty well, especially in Australia with lots of sunlight. Do I cook? Yes, I have a camping stove and oven combo majig. It has, 2 burners and I can cook dumpling soup or risotto or a curry or some pasta dish or whatever. It's pretty easy to make most things with 2 burners. And I have one of my ventilation fans immediately above the stove, which is mostly there to keep condensation under control, but also works well as a ventilation hood thing above a stove. Why did I decide to live in a van? The number one reason was money. It's just cheaper to live in a van. I'm currently doing my PhD at uni, and I get a scholarship for that, which is nice. It's enough to live on, but it's much, much easier to live on while living in a van, not paying rent, not having water bills, not having electricity bills. It's just financially much, much easier. I also really enjoy being able to have that physical freedom of where I live. I can go visit a friend, go to a party and stay the night because I brought my home with me, go on a camp on the weekend without having to pack, visit someone that lives a few hours away and I can just sleep over. Makes it really easy. Done that a few times, especially in the rural parts of my state. Some of my friends have like a medical placement during their degree, and so I can just visit them for a night, and it's really nice. Is it legal? Yes. In my state, at least, there are no laws against sleeping in a vehicle. That isn't true for other states in Australia, but in my state it's fine, as far as I can tell. There are differences in the laws of local councils, and that goes into my next question. Have I ever encountered any backlash regarding living in a van? Has anyone knocked on my doors or called the police or anything? Fortunately, I haven't had either of those, but one time I was visiting a friend and I came out to my van at some point and noticed that someone had left a couple of pages printed out and put under my windscreen wiper. It's pages of the local council legislature, and they highlighted the sections talking about camping and how it's illegal. Essentially, parking a motorhome with intent to sleep is not allowed in that council. So from that point forward, I just parked in my friend's driveway and have never been harassed since. And that's the only instance I've had in the past 14 months. So I consider myself fairly lucky about that. What type of van is it? It is a Fiat Ducato mid-wheelbase, so there's about 3 meters of space lengthwise on the inside, and mid-roof, so it's got about 1.9 meters of height on the inside. So if you're my height, I'm 179 centimeters tall. I can stand up with room to spare, which is really nice. It's basically just a commercial vehicle that I kitted out with stuff so I could live in it. And in the US, it's called a Ram ProMaster, if you were curious. Does it get too cold? During the middle of winter, where I live, it only really gets down to 0 degrees Celsius at worst. So if I'm going to sleep, I have a nice quilt. I have a nice weighted blanket. I have a second quilt. I can be very, very warm under all of this. Usually I just use the one quilt and I'm fine. If I'm feeling particularly chilly, I put on some gloves and maybe a beanie and some bed socks, but most of the time it's perfectly fine because I don't live somewhere where it snows. Does it get too hot though? Yes. In Australia, the summer gets really hot. I think at worst, our overnight minimum, the lowest that it gets sometimes, is 31 degrees Celsius. We had one of those last summer where it did not drop below 31 degrees Celsius during the night, and that was just dreadful. What I do to combat that is I have 2 ventilation fans, one here, one over there. They both have rain hoods, so if it's raining, I don't get dripped upon, like now. They are reversible, so they can pull in air and blow out air. Usually I'll have one pulling in air, one pushing out air. And so on a really hot day, when the sun's shining down on the car, the inside will heat up, but these will circulate air and keep it from getting too hot. During the summer nights, I just have these going at a decent speed. I have a little personal, you know, just a little fan that can, you know, make a breeze on my face. I have a little spray bottle, and at absolute worst, I'll probably just visit a friend who has air conditioning. What do I do for internet? I just use mobile data. I have a plan that gives me like 20 gig, and when that runs out, I have unlimited internet at 1.5 megabits, which is not fast, but fast enough to watch YouTube videos, which is mostly what I use it for. And the last question's, what's the worst part about van life? For me, I don't like that I don't have a space to invite my friends over. I would like to be able to host small events, play some board games, I don't know, eat food. Whenever I have a party, I need to hire out a venue or have it at a friend's place. That's probably my least favorite part because you cannot fit very many people in a van. When I started, one of the harder parts was finding places that I could park that were near a gym and had good public transport and had plenty of sunshine and weren't too much of a nuisance. But now that that's done and I've got my routine, that's not an issue anymore. Really, the worst part is that I can't invite friends over because there's no space. Other than that, it works really well for my lifestyle. I can carry all the stuff that I own. I have all the stuff that I own with me all the time wherever I go with the van, which is great. I can just go to a party and be like, oh, just bring my Nintendo Switch out, or I've got this musical instrument that we want, or I get my Pro Controller, or oh, camera gear, blah, 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 blah. It's nice. Really, really good. So yeah, that's some van life stuff. I hope it was informative. If you've got more questions, let me know. I might do another one. Cool. Thanks for watching. Blah.